The other day, I was heading to work and I was on a bus and I was on Twitter, as you do, on the Twitters. And I happened upon this tweet in the section where Twitter's like, hey, here's some stuff you might have missed. It was a tweet from an author named Olivia Gatwood. She said something along the lines of, showers are an interesting place if you think about it, just wet closets where we cry and wash these bodies we live in. And as I read that, uh, I had this weird, like, I couldn't get it out of my head. These bodies we live in. And I've had that thought before. This thought of, like, are we this body or do we live in this body? You know, when you at any point in your life, when you think about what your soul is or where your soul resides in this chamber, but this tweet for some reason at, like, 8 something in the morning really just got all the corridors in my brain just moving. Uh, this body I live in, these bodies we live in, these bodies we live in. Okay, I just want to pause right here because this look of hesitation, this moment was a moment where I recognized that the story I'm telling actually inspired me to write a piece of poetry, and I hesitated while recording the video to share it. But I really want to pause the video right here and share it. It's a rough draft. It's not finished, but I had the urge while editing this video to share it, and so here goes. My spine is the bone of a mammal turned into the cane of an aging traveler, a walking stick weathered and still pointing in the right direction. My heart is everything I own, wrapped in fickle parchment, held together with bleeding. I want to believe that my posture is bad because my heart is so heavy, but apparently the human heart weighs less than it feels, which is to say, it feels everything. Imagine this very moment. The actual moment you're living in right now. Imagine it preserved in its entirety, same as knowing that wherever we stand is a natural history museum in waiting, our bones washed and screwed together in this pose, the tips of our spines bent like the staffs of folklore from carrying us through the tundra of every mundane moment, our spines arched just over our shoulders glossy in the light of some ambient display case and hanging in the cage of our ribs where the everything used to hang, like a mobile made of crimson muscle, like an inverted chandelier, like a blood-red piñata hanging there in that void now is nothing. Your heart will leave your bones behind as if it has never known broken. It jogged a lot of stuff in my mind, and one thing in particular, I'm pretty sure, this is a little bit embarrassing, but I'm pretty sure what I'm about to share is from an old episode of Oprah Winfrey. There was an episode where it was like an author or like a psychologist or a speaker before TED Talks, back in the 80s or 90s. And on that show, this person turns to the whole studio audience and says, I'm going to ask you to do something and I want you to do it without thinking, without any thought whatsoever, and maybe you could try it here. They turned to the whole studio audience and said, without thinking, I want you to point to yourself. And without hesitation, everyone in the audience pointed to their chest. They didn't point to their head or their face or their brain. And I don't know if that's just because, like, this is central and it's easier access. And when you point to something, it's normally within this perimeter. But it was interesting and it stuck with me. And on the bus at 8 a.m. when I'm reading this tweet, I couldn't stop thinking about it. This body I live in. These bodies we live in. Because it's a different way of thinking, I guess. When you say I and you refer to yourself, it's this. It's the everything you are. So to think about our existence as living within a body. There's going to be a point where I should just open up my laptop, because is it T.S. Eliot who has the quote, "You have a body, you are a soul"? Is that T.S. Eliot? Let's Google it. Ooh, the power of the internet. We live in interesting times. I'm sure every generation thinks that and says that, but we really do live in a compelling time. Like, in what other point in history was any of this moment possible? It wasn't T.S. Eliot. It was the other initials. It was C.S. Lewis. No, wait, nope. Hold on. I'm fact checking here. Well, there's a lot of history on this quote, apparently, and it wasn't, it wasn't. There is a quote in life, in the world, somewhere on the internet, that goes back as far as like 1959 and even further to a quotation in a 1929 novel, A Short Anecdote, in a 1905 periodical, and an 1895 survey. You are a soul, you have a body. Apparently it wasn't C.S. Lewis or T.S. Eliot for that matter. Anyway, the notion's always been there, and I find it really interesting. It's fascinating how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive this existence. And also the observation that a shower is a very odd thing if you think about it. A wet closet where we cry and clean the bodies we live in. That's all I got today. Just wanted to give you a little existential crisis. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and like this video. If you don't like this video, thank you for watching anyways. I will see you later. Also, if you like this shirt, you can visit youcansitwithus.net and purchase it. All the proceeds, 100% of the profits, go to anti-bullying campaigns.